And in this video, I'm going to show you 4 steps on how to make sure this thing is true, parallel, and dialed in. Alright, first thing we're going to do is we're going to test to see how parallel or how perpendicular the blade is to the table. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use a square, a simple square, and a flashlight. So I'm going to set up the flashlight to shine right where the blade meets the square. And you want to make sure you don't get on one of the carbide teeth. You want to be on the flat part of the blade. So I'm going to set that square up there like that. Make sure your blade's nice and high. I'm going to loosen up the adjustment for the blade, and then as I tilt it, I can see that there's light coming in between the square and the blade. And you want to get that just right so you don't see any light. So right there, I've got it. I know that's hard to see with the camera, but I'll show it to you. But here you can see how I've got the light shining right at the junction of the square and the blade, and I've got it about as perpendicular as I can get it with this method. So that's step 1. Move on to step 2. So step 2, I just want to see how the miter gauge and miter slot are, if they're square with the blade. So again, I've got my square, my small square, and I'm going to hold the back end up against the miter gauge, slide it over till I meet the blade, shine a light down in there. To me it looks like it's dead square, and then we'll rotate miter gauge up and down, and I'm just touching on both ends. So as far as I can tell, we're square. The saw blade is square to the miter slot. So that's step 2. Next step is going to see how square the fence is to the miter slot and the fence is to the blade. Alright, next step is to make sure this fence is perpendicular to the table and parallel to the miter slot. So the way I'm going to do that, first I'm going to run it out here, lock it down, do the same method, the framing square, flashlight, actually it looks like my okay, I'm checking square on the fence. It appears to me that it's off. So I think what it says to do is to adjust these 2 screws right here on top of the fence to square it up. So seems like to me the fence needs to come this way a little bit. So I'm going to adjust this screw right here. Got mosquitoes. Alright, so let's try that. Yeah, that's much better. Alright, now that's aligned. Next part of the fence step is to get it square with the miter slot. So we're going to slide it over. We're going to line this corner up with the miter slot right here. Just by hand, by feel. Lock it down. And go over here. And it's off. It's off by maybe a couple of thousandths. So what it says to do, it needs to come this way. So I think what I have to do is adjust this screw right here. So let me work on that and I'll be right back with you. Alright, so I got the Allen wrench. It says what to do here is adjust either this side or this side, quarter turn at a time, to bring the miter gauge into, or the fence into alignment with the miter gauge. So I'm going to try a quarter turn this way. See what happens. So we're going to line up here again with this edge, and that's much closer. Let's get it, let's try that again. Let's slide it, get it right there. Lock it down. Yeah, it's just a little off. So let's go that another quarter turn. And I think that's it right there, folks. That's dead on. Alright, so I think that completes this step. We are parallel this way, perpendicular. We are in alignment with the miter slot. And man, I like this fence. I'm here to tell you, folks, this fence right here, it's the reason to get the saw. That rigid saw doesn't have near the fence this thing has. This is the real deal. So, alright, I think we're good with that step. So the last step is, well, we're going to see if this thing cuts parallel with the fence. So the first thing I'm going to do, step 4, is we're going to make some measurements between the blade and the fence. And we're going to see how close we are on both sides of the blade. We're also going to see how the tape measure aligns with the measurement. And then we're going to cut a couple of pieces of wood, and we're going to measure it after we cut it to see if it's square. And we're going to dial this thing in. So let me do some preparation before I get back to you here, and we'll go through the last step. Alright, we're back. So I've used my calipers to try to just gauge how close we are. I set the fence at 2 inches. I've measured here with my calipers, and I think I'm about 185, 186 So we're going to make a cut. So let me adjust my blade. Adjust my blade down. Alright, let's give this a shot and see where we're at here. It's a pretty good edge on this side, so we'll use that and we'll make a cut. Very nice, very nice. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll take our calipers and we're going to measure what we got on both ends. So that is 168 on that end. And we are 165 on this end. $160. Yeah, about 168. And about 164, 165 over here. So we're slightly off. So what I'm going to do is we're off not only fence-wise, just a hair, but I also need to adjust my my ruler because we're not at 2 inches. So let me work on that for a minute and I'll come back with you. Alright, so I was wrong with my measurements. It was 1.965 and 1.960. So we're not off much at all here. So I am going to try to make one adjustment here. I'm going to adjust this just a hair more. We're going to line back up to the slot. Check it out. I think I'm off a little bit too much, but alright. So I did move the guide. Hang on, I got mosquitoes out here. I did make an adjustment to the sight on the indicator for the measurement tape. So I made about a 1/16 of an adjustment. So I should cut 2 inches exactly. So we're going to make another cut. Alright. For all you safety Sallies out there, I know I should have safety glasses on, but I don't. So alright, let's measure them with a crude tape measure. That is dead on 2 inches. That appears to be 2 inches. We'll use our calipers. We are at, on this end, 2 inches. Wow, 2 inches exactly. And on this end we are 2 inches. 10. So we're still not quite square. And I think I went the wrong direction. So this is actually, these calipers suck, so that's actually about 205, and this is actually about depending on how I measure this, 205. So I'm going to grab a piece of 3/4 inch MDF and try that. Alright, got me a small piece of MDF, and we're going to make one more cut, see where we're at. This will be easier to measure, I think, maybe. Alright. Let's measure it out towards the end of the jaws. And I'm looking at 2005. And on this end, I'm looking at 2005. No, 2004. I'm here to tell you, folks, that's pretty close. You measure that with a tape measure. It's dead on 2 inches. So I'm calling her done. So she's parallel to the blade. She's perpendicular to the fence is perpendicular to the table. The blade is perpendicular to the table, and by all means that I can measure, we're ready to go. So we'll wrap this up in a minute and call it a day. All right. So, there you have it. I've got everything dialed in, at least the best that I can do tonight. I'll probably go through this exercise one more time. I'll probably go on the other side of the blade with the fence, and I'll probably make some cuts out here about 20 inches or so, 15 to 20 inches, and make sure that I've got everything aligned correctly. But as it stands right now, I'm dead set on 2 inches here. I'm cutting 2 inches on both ends of a board all the way through. So that tells me so far that I've got everything aligned. Using a framing square, I'm able to see that everything is perpendicular, all the surfaces, and I believe I'm ready to go. I'm all set up. So there you have it, 4 steps. There's kind of a couple of steps combined there in step 3, but 4 steps to get the table saw, the Delta table saw, dialed in, and I think it's ready to use. So if you haven't seen my other video that I shot before this, I did a complete assembly of this table saw, 5 steps to assemble the Delta table saw. So check out that video, and as always, I appreciate if you'd hammer that like button. And please subscribe. It helps me out if you do that, so appreciate it, and have a nice day.